All right, so we're approaching the quarter mark of the NBA season. There have already been many interesting storylines around the association, including the local teams here in New York. So let's talk about it with the great NBA content creator from True Hoop. His name is Gerard Hector. It's my guy. Joins me now. What's up, Gerard?
I am good, my guy. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm doing good. Enjoying this basketball. It's moving along through the season. So we're approaching 20 games, which is
Yeah.
crazy. Feels like it just started yesterday. So, Gerard, let's start with the local teams. First, the Knicks. They're 9-7 through 16 games. Okay, offense looked great, especially recently, but the defense, not so much. So, how concerned are you about the defense? And is the team fixing their defensive issues a matter of more time of them just playing together and getting some injured pieces back, or is it something else?
It's a little bit of both, right? So I think that, yes, offensively, as you mentioned, they're fantastic. Number two in the league on offense and adjusted offensive rating. Defensively, you're integrating two new big and new pieces in, right? In Karl Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges. And Mikal Bridges, we know, has always been a good defender throughout his career. He's been kind of just average so far this season. So getting him a little bit more integrated. And then Karl Anthony Towns is the big one. Yes, historically, he has not been great defensively his entire career, but he's a 7 footer. He's huge. So he figures out how to just use his size and the Knicks figure out how they want to play with someone as big as he is. They'll do some things. I know they're doing some drop coverage, but there's different things they can do, right? They can hedge a little bit harder. So I know Tibbs is working through that. You did mention we're 20 games through. So, we're getting to the quarter point. So, by December, we got to kind of see Christmas. If that defense is still trending down, then I think we need to be concerned.
All right, so no concern yet, not sounding the alarms, but yet just watchful. Got to watch what's going on with them at least through the next month. Now, the Brooklyn Nets, they've already won 6 games in a season where many people projected Brooklyn to be one of the worst teams in the league. So, what do you make of the job that first-year head coach Jordi Fernandez is doing in Brooklyn?
I think it's too early to tell, right? Like, look, this team is competing. They have guys who are competing hard, and many guys who probably won't be on this team past the trade deadline, right? As you mentioned, this is a team projected to be bad. I think they don't want to be good this year. They're probably going to tank and look for draft capital. Jordy's still kind of learning things. You can see the team fighting. Like, he's got, it takes a while for coaches to quote unquote get good and have success. What they're seeing right now is you have two players in Dennis Schroeder and Cam Thomas who are good shot creators and good shot makers, right? So when you're in close games, those guys are helpful because they can bail you out. And Cam Johnson's shooting like 40 something percent, I want to say, from three. So they have guys who can make shots and who are pretty good at shot creation. So that's helping them in tight games. So I can't really make a verdict on Jordi Fernandez being good or bad as a head coach yet. It's still a little bit too early for him.
Yeah, a bit early. He does have them playing hard on defense. I have noticed that. They play hard on defense. They compete. It'll be interesting to see if we still see some of those same lineups if they are serious about winning or tanking. We'll know soon. We'll know very soon what they're serious about. Okay, let's go down to I-95. Let's go to Philadelphia, where the Sixers heading into play on Sunday, they are 3-12. Yes, folks, 3-12. Now, there was a team meeting, Gerard, last week where Tyrese Maxey called out Joel Embiid. A lot going on down there. What's your biggest concern with this Sixers team, and do you believe that they can actually turn it around from this 3-12 start?
Well, my concern is not team meetings, although, when you have early season team meetings, it's never a great sign. But look, kudos to Tyrese for holding Joel Embiid accountable. Look, my biggest concern for them Dexter, is health. How many games are we going to see Maxey, Embiid, and Paul George play together on the floor? Right now, hasn't been any, right? So, I mean, I think that's my concern. I don't know that we're going to see that this season, and that is my concern. Look, they're only 4 games out of the top 6, but there are 8 teams they have to leapfrog to get there, which means not only they have to start playing well, they're going to need help in front of them. Now, that's all possible, but that's a lot of ifs, right? And we're betting on the health of 2 players who historically have not been healthy. I don't know. I just don't see it. Again, until I see consistent minutes accrued with this trio, I can't say that they're going to turn things around.
Yeah, and we'll see if that happens. They have not had much time at all on the court together this season, so we'll see how that all plays out. Now, the best record in the league belongs to the Cleveland Cavaliers. What has allowed them to get off to such a great start, and do you view them as true NBA contenders right now?
I do. They're third in offense, ninth in defense, I believe. Look, Kenny Atkinson has breathed spirit into that team. Karis LeVert and Jared Allen are playing like they did under him when he was their head coach of the Brooklyn Nets. He has breathed spirit back into Darius Garland. Darius Garland was struggling, Dexter, when Donovan Mitchell arrived. When you're someone like Darius Garland, who your whole life you've probably been the best player on your team, and you were the guy on this team before Donovan Mitchell got here, it takes a while to adjust to that. Not only your playing style, but your own ego is like, okay, I am not the best guy in the backcourt right now. But he's seemingly gotten over that, and they have found a nice chemistry and symmetry, and they're working together. And he's playing like he did 3 seasons ago on offense. And if he's doing that, that is a lethal backcourt. And they have depth. They got, I want to say they have 11. They go 11 deep, 11 guys playing 11 or more minutes per game. This is wonderful stuff. Kenny Atkinson gets kudos, and offensively they're stacking multiple actions. I really love what I'm seeing, and Evan Mobley looks like he's made another leap.
Yeah, that was the guy I was going to mention there too. Evan Mobley making a leap. Usage is up, efficiency is up for him. Minutes down for Donovan Mitchell, as you mentioned, which helps a lot too, right? That helps a ton there too. So you're seeing them go 11 deep, and that's helping. We'll get to another team in a second that's playing really deep, but we're going to go out west now, and Nikola Jokic. He's doing Nikola Jokic things out in Denver, as we know. The Nuggets, they still look like a strong team, but I think the big question I have with them, Gerard, is do they have the necessary depth to survive the minutes when the Joker isn't on the floor?
No. And they don't, because Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. are not playing consistently to their level, right? They've had moments, and they have sort of periods where they play well, but neither of them have played consistently well enough, right? Jokic needs one of them to be an all-star or all-star adjacent, and neither of them are that, right? Christian Brown's doing okay. Mike Malone historically has not played a bench, but he's kind of been forced to a little bit, to see what they have. And, they got some guys, Julian Strother, young player, right? Peyton Watson, they have young players. But, again, they need reps and more minutes and more time, on the floor, experiencing what it's like when Nikola's not there and how to play well. Now, you would think with Jokic out, you can always have one of Jokic, Porter Jr., and Murray on the floor, and the team should be fine. But that's just not the case. Again, going back to Murray and Porter Jr., the two of them have just not played well enough and consistently enough at their level.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, can they turn it around? Does Denver think about moving one of those guys? And to get a little bit more depth, it will be interesting to see what they do going forward. Now, speaking of depth, the Warriors, they've been going with a 12-man rotation. They've been playing 12 deep, and they're atop the Western Conference. How good is Golden State's depth, and is going 12 deep sustainable for Steve Kerr and company going forward?
They're actually going 13 deep, Dex. Yeah, like they're playing well, man. This team is doing really well. Their veterans that they picked up seem to fit their read and react offense better. They have 13 players, Dex. They're averaging 11 or more minutes per game, which is insane. Nobody of those 13 players, none of them are averaging 30 minutes. I mean, that's beautiful, especially when you have two players in Stephen Curry and Draymond Green who are critical to your team's success, right? Older players in their mid-30s. This is wonderful, man. So those guys are able to be fresh late in games. Andrew Wiggins has seemingly had a resurgence after he dealt with some really tough personal stuff the last year and a half or so. So this is wonderful, and I think Steve is finding out again what he has, because injuries we know are going to come at some point, and it's much better to know, hey, here's a roster of guys I can count on, instead of saying I have no idea what I have. Let me go find out now out of necessity because guys are out of the lineup. He's being proactive in that way, and I think and I believe it'll pay huge dividends in the long run.
So you think it'll pay huge dividends for them in the long run? I just have a follow-up for you in that, because you and I have talked about this over time. It makes, I would say, I think, common sense, right, that you go a little deeper. You don't burn out your top-end rotation guys. We talked about Golden State. We talked about Cleveland, right? 13 deep with Golden State, 11 deep with Cleveland. Do you think this will maybe start a trend in the league of teams maybe going a little bit deeper into their bench, trusting their bench a little bit more? Because a lot of the notion, this, Gerard, being around basketball and covering it like you have, you can't go that deep. You can't play 9 or 10 deep. Well, these teams are doing it. Do you think this starts a positive trend where other teams might start doing this?
I do think so, particularly with the pace of play that certain teams play at. The Pacers last year went 11, 12 deep, and I know they beat the Knicks in the playoffs last year, and the Knicks had some injuries. But part of the reason that the Game 7 was a blowout is because the Pacers were just fresher, right? They just got guys that can just keep coming in and out of the game, right? And when you play at that pace, you need that. I think teams will start copying that. At least, I was going to say smart, but teams it makes sense to me, right? We have basketball rosters are 15 deep. If you're not going to use what's the point of having them there then? Right? If they can't play, then what are we doing? Develop your guys so that, again, when you are forced to play them out of necessity because of injuries, you're not saying, crap, what do we do? Right? Because you don't know, because they don't play. right? Now, the problem is that it's tough for coaches to do that because they're worried about job security. When a young player or an unproven player gets in, he's going to mess up. Yes, of course they're going to mess up because they need reps. But short term, right? Manage it in the short term for potential long term success. It's no surprise that someone like Steve Kerr's doing it, who's got ultimate job security at Golden State. Kenny Atkinson is in year one, right? So he's got a little bit of a runway. Coaches, Rick Carlisle, job security, coaches who have security and are not worried about their positions, Oklahoma City, they're doing that. Others who were a little bit, on the fence, Mike Malone, maybe, probably a little more reticent to do that.
Right. It'll be interesting to see if this is something that you see other teams continue. I think it would make sense to get your players ready. You don't have to get ready if you stay ready. I always say that.
There it is.
So that can happen there for players too. That is Gerard Hector of True Hoop. Check him out there and the fantastic work they do covering the NBA. Always a great job talking some NBA hoops with you, my friend. We will do it again soon.
Yes, sir.